We were honored to sit down with a South African legend who is growing his legendary status in slap fighting. Danie Van Heerden is an accomplished martial artist, and now he's looking to dominate the sport of slap fighting. We talk about what the sport means to him, where he is going with his career, what his intentions are, how he's looking to grow the sport in South Africa, and what it takes to develop a mindset and maintain and evolve that mindset as a champion, always looking for the new challenges, whether you're a lean, mean fighting machine or a fighting machine in a dad's bod. This is one for you if you'd like to know more about the growing and developing sport of slap fighting and what it's like to hear from a South African champion and legend. Welcome to Coffee and Conversations with Champions, the slap fighting edition. Hello, Danie Van Heerden, welcome to Coffee and Conversations with Champions. It's awesome to have you join us. Thank you so much. And can you give us a little bit of background, sort of who is Danie?
Well, let's start by the age. I'm age
Yeah.
37. I'm married. I'm a father of 5 kids. I'm a sibling of 13 kids.
Sure.
Other than that, I do power slap as a sport now because this is the only sport you can do with a proper dad bod.
Yep.
Um, I've nearly done all the combat sports that you can close to think of, and also on a professional level.
Yes.
We all survived COVID, and I mean that's Danie Van Heerden.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. So how long have you been involved in sports? Is it something that you've done your whole life?
Sort of, yeah. My father would have fought Pierre Coetzee in 1981 for the SA title. I
Sure.
mean, I was born 1987, I think. I
Hmm.
forgot the thing. But in any case, from there, we were all sort of groomed into boxing.
Hmm.
I, as a kid in school, we did karate, we did kickboxing. So we sort of stayed active in the combat sports. I was one of the only siblings that moved to wrestling, moved
Hmm.
to strongman. I just enjoy something new and, how can I say, extraordinary.
Yes.
And that keeps me active. So I need to put my mind into something that's big. For example, boxing, you need to be fit
Yes.
and you need to do jab, hook, and uppercut the most of your career.
Yeah.
Wrestling is something different. I mean, it's a whole different crowd. You every day you learn something new. Same with the mixed martial arts. Every day you learn something new. And I mean, now at this age and this weight division, power slap is the only competition. You only need to give 3 slaps. So going back to the
Right.
boxing, jab, hook, and uppercut, where that used to be boring. I mean, slap fight is a humbling sport. You can get knocked out by literally
Yes.
anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. And you sort of found it through, there was an event held in South Africa. How did that happen?
That is correct. There was an event held in South Africa called SASPA, South African Slap Association.
Yes.
We then competed there. I was matched against a guy from Woodbank, also undefeated in boxing and all the sports he competed in.
Hmm.
Um, at that time, I wasn't sure if I had to do it or not because it wasn't sanctioned in South Africa. So
Right.
it's a great risk for doing it, and me coming from a pro licensed sport to
Okay.
compete on that. But also due to COVID, nothing else was happening.
Mm.
I remember I just got my bare knuckle boxing license, and the fight never happened. It got postponed also due to COVID. And then slap fight was the first sport starting. So I'm like, okay, it's something new. Let's try it out.
Right.
Um, I won the first one, and I got hooked. I mean, I remember watching the event. There were some of the lighter guys. I'm talking now 59 kilograms. They
Mm.
were knocking each other out by the first slap. And some of the contestants that were supposed to compete after them pulled out because of what they saw happening. I'm like, I'm hooked to this. I'm sure
Yes.
this can go grow a big deal. And yeah, look where we are today. This was 2022, so 2 years later.
So where is your career gone? What have you been involved with the sport? So you had your first
Well,
local comp, and then where did we go? Sorry. Yeah.
We had our first local competition. Then me and another guy opened Ultimate Slap Fight here in South
Hmm.
Africa, one of the only organizations as well. Then we got that sold out. 600 people. It happened in the Vault Triangle.
Wow.
Um, and then I saw something is happening here. Then I sold my 50% shares to him. Says,
Hmm.
you know what, continue from here. Then me and my wife, we started the Dominant Slap League because we just ultimate team working together. We
Right.
started Dominant Slap League. We hosted the event. We had 1,200 people in house and we had 6,000 online streaming. For being
Wow.
an amateur sport, or not even a sport yet, selling
Yes.
so much tickets. We sold more tickets than what most of the pro organizations do. And then
Right.
from there, obviously, Power Slap just started and we won on the season. So eventually we competed on a live event. Now we are there. So my aim now is to obviously get the youngsters here from South Africa, the guys who've got potential,
Yes.
looking to get them into Power Slap as well. We need to put South Africa on the map.
So for with the training that you do, I think obviously the strong neck is vital in terms of limiting the shock to the brain. What is your training similar to with boxing and with wrestling? You need to have a strong neck. You need to be able to take a shot. What do you do sort of around that part of your training?
Well, my opinion on this, you can either
Mm.
take a slap or you can't take a slap. I think this
Okay.
is one of the only things you cannot teach yourself to take a
Right.
slap or not a slap. But other than that, you can have a strong jaw, strong neck,
Hmm.
strong shoulders, hip movement. You need to
Mm.
be flexible on all of that. But obviously, it's bonuses if your neck is strong and your jaw is strong. But most of all, I think the only thing you cannot teach yourself is to take a slap or not take a slap. Because normally what happens, your brain moves inside your head. And when
Yes.
it touches your skull, that's your body telling you you're going to get damaged and it switches off for safety
Yes.
reasons.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think that there's a way to teach yourself that. But yeah,
So it's a physical thing and a mental thing then. So how are you able to work with the younger athletes to help them develop that mindset that it's okay, they can take a slap if they can take a slap?
well, the mindset is a different thing. I do personally believe your mindset comes from you as an individual person.
Hmm.
Because mindset strength depends on what you gone through in life. If you had life easy, I don't think your mind is that strong because you know everything is
Hmm.
just handed to you. But I think if you had like a sort of a tough life and you had to fight through it and accomplish a lot of difficulties,
Mm.
that automatically makes your mind stronger. Because if you if you start believing, you know what, you need to do it for yourself and no one else is going to do it for you, then your mind is starting to get positive on it. I mean, if you normally on a couch and you sit there and either watch TV or drink or whatever you
Mm.
do to get yourself out of that chair, you need to change your mind because you have motivation and you have discipline. In my
Yes.
opinion, motivation is not always there. That is
Right.
something that needs to come from either your fans, supporters, friends, family, and a bit about yourself. But the discipline always needs to come from yourself. No one else is going to tell you, you know what, this is a routine, you're going to have to do it. And that's where it needs to equal itself out from the discipline and the motivation.
Right. So, with a lot of the youth today, they haven't experienced any real challenges in life, which is a problem. And a lot of them are stuck on the couch. I read an interesting quote where two Americans were talking, and the one American said to the other guy, "Have you ever been triggered?" And he said, "No, but I've been shot." And I think that that puts it into context where we can understand. But I think, and one of the things that we're trying to do with this podcast, martial arts, fighting, getting slapped hard can only add value to your life. It can only improve your quality of life because it improves your self belief. I've been sober for 17 years and I work with addicts and we put them in very difficult physical positions with the training to prove to them that they're capable of more than they believed. And then they can start to push. If you were going to speak to or speaking to the youth, what would you say to them about getting off the couch? How do they develop that discipline if they don't have that self belief?
Well, I believe you need to have a drive. or role model in life. Once your role model steps out of life, you start losing the tracks for some reason.
Right.
But I do believe once you put all the excuses aside, life will start happening. So stop making excuses and start doing. I mean, I'm not talking about from experience now. I've done all the sports. I've done it professionally. I was the EFC. I was the MMA
Yeah.
world champion. I was number 5 in boxing rank. In SA, I'm one loss in K1. I'm undefeated in Muay Thai. Since the COVID happened, you just lose interest in everything.
Right.
I then lost my father due to he was murdered. So sort of on that, my father was my motivation in a sense, because for some reason we never always got along, but he taught us tough love.
Yes.
So if you want something done, leave the excuses and just do it, because
Right.
no one else is going to do it besides yourself. So, and you are not going to do it if you have an excuse. Yeah, obviously he got murdered, and then COVID happened, and then your work stopped, your income stopped, all of that stopped. So then what you do, you start lying on the couch and looking for excuses not to get up. I mean, slap fight came along, and then I thought, you know what, I'm overweight, I'm not active anymore, but I'm still strong. So slap fight is sort of the sport that got me up and out the couch, because you know I do not need to train 5 days a week like your normal combat sports guys or
Yes.
boxers. I can basically come from the couch. If you can take a slap, there's slightly technique towards it, but it's a fast thing to learn yourself.
Right.
And then you can go and give a slap.
Okay. Sure. Okay. It's so I just had an issue with the computer wanting to restart there for a second, so I got a little bit distracted. So you've been a champion in so many different sports. Where do you get your mindset from? Was it the tough love? What is the value of sport for you growing up as a kid?
Well, for me, as a kid growing up, I hated it because my dad pushed us into training. When you come from school, you had to train. When he was in a bad mood, you had to train. When you were supposed to get a hiding, you had to train. So I hated it with nearly all my life.
Right.
But as you grow up, you realize, you know what, sports is the only thing that can change your mindset if you're in doubt of work or relationship or any other thing. Sport is the only thing that takes that off. I mean, you start focusing on, for example, if you go to the gym, you need to lift this 10 times for the next 4 reps. So your mind completely changed. And then for the fitness guys, once you see you look better in the mirror, that then you can't wait to go to the gym. So you automatically start forgetting about your problems,
Yes.
which normal guys would either go to the bar and drink it out, and then they sit with a bigger problem the next day. But the training, you actually go to the gym, you can either mingle or you can put your earphones on and then go from there. So sports for me is, I think, the only thing that can take you out of anything. If you've got
Right.
mental health issues, if you've got stress, if you've got anything, I do believe sports is the only thing that can take you out of it.
Absolutely. And it's the safest way to push yourself and to take risks within your life, where you're not suddenly changing your job because you want to try something different, but you can throw yourself into that dark hole in the gym and push yourself and start to develop that self-belief. Absolutely. Where do
Exactly.
you
And then
yeah.
one thing about the gym, I mean, you do not have to start lifting 200 kilograms or 20 kilograms. You can literally start by 2 kilograms at a time. No one can tell you anything else. So there's a different level of where to start yourself. And that is even in boxing, martial arts. You can start anywhere, any age, anytime, any weight division.
Yes, absolutely. And that's such a big thing at any age. We had a client in the gym this morning. He's 72 years old and he's wanting to get back into training, and it's the most wonderful thing to see. I mean, he's still coming to gym in a vest. So like,
Well, believe it or not, I used to own a gym, and
yeah,
and it was 3 years back when I closed it down. My
right.
oldest student was 79 years of age,
Sure.
and he got up 5 in the morning. He came to train, and then at night he came to train again. I'm like, where do you get the energy? He's like, I'm
Yeah.
not gonna go to the couch.
Yeah. 100%. So what did you see the training do for him?
Well, the training let him light up. So you can see he's in a happy place. He can now be a motivation for the youngsters out there. I mean,
Yes.
at age 79, what's not more motivated than walking in a gym? And you see this elderly not having excuses,
Mm-hmm.
which normal guys would have on the age, like now maybe 30 or 40 or 35, or I got a hip problem or whatever the case may be. But then you walk into a gym and you see a 80-year-old or 79-year-old. For me, that's motivation.
So that's absolutely phenomenal. They,
Yeah,
if it's yeah, and there's community, right? Sometimes with the older people, they don't have anyone to talk to.
definitely, that's true.
So, if you were talking to parents, what would you say to parents about why they should get their kids involved in sport, and what sports would you recommend?
Well, I do believe wrestling,
Mm-hmm.
wrestling and karate depends where your child is at. If your child needs discipline, like manners and stuff, I do believe karate is the best. Karate and
Mm-hmm.
taekwondo is the best for discipline.
Mm-hmm.
Those sports actually have time to teach you discipline. Um, Wrestling and boxing is if you're sort of past that discipline stage, you understand what to do and what to do, what not to do,
Mm-hmm.
etc. But to get your basics up to date, I would say wrestling, and then obviously from there, I would also go into boxing or even mixed martial arts.
Right. Okay. And from what age could they start?
Well, any age. This is the thing about wrestling. The younger you start, obviously, the better. But here's another trick: if you start too young, by the age of 15, 16, you're tired of sports.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to have a plan for your youngster on which sports you're aiming him in. So if you want to put him into martial arts, rather start him off at wrestling so he can get the basics. From there,
Mm-hmm.
boxing, then move it up. So it can change because at age 15, 16, they become teenagers and then they know it all. So that's
Yeah.
normally where it stops.
Right. Okay. But then they need that foundation and that understanding. And so helping them
Definitely.
develop the passion, right? So,
Definitely, because if they started young, I mean, at age 15, 16, you top of the chart, and
yes.
then not having competition on your level, that makes it boring. It's like, so then you lose the hunger, and then you're like,
Mm,
no, I'd rather go and work or do
mm.
something else. But yeah, the hunger always needs to stay there.
Right, 100%. For you, what are the plans for now Power Slap going forward? What are you looking to do with the sport in terms of your career and then also in terms of growing it within South Africa?
Well, my career, I'm looking to become the champion and stay the champion. South Africa behind me. I mean, I was the MMA world champion,
Yes,
and it wasn't the experience I got now from South Africa. I mean, today it feels like the whole of South Africa is behind me, even though I'm ranked 4
100%.
in the world in slap fighting.
Yes.
Other than this, I'm also looking to grow the sport here in South Africa. If we can get it sanctioned and maybe get some of the youngsters and even South
Mm.
Africans up on an international level and also compete abroad. Um, yeah, so that's the aim. That's what I'm looking to do.
So, how do guys, if they've got an idea that they'd like to get involved in the sport, how do they get in touch with you? Sort of, where are you operating?
Well, they can follow me on Instagram. I'm at
Okay.
Danie Pitbull. They can also follow me on Facebook, Danie Van Heerden. I also got a fan page, Danie Pitbull Van Heerden.
Okay.
Then our promotion name is Dominant Slap League. The guys will just be patient there. Remember, we are in South Africa. There's no constitution yet. So to host
Okay.
events is dangerous, if I can say it that way.
Mm.
So we're always looking for safety. So just hold on. We can sign up some guys. Once that is sanctioned, we are also busy with it. Then the events can start from there, and then you can build your profile. I mean, this is for literally any weight, any age, any division, any color. You
Hmm.
can come and try out slap fight.
So you mentioned the weight, and I think that's one of the things that stops people competing in sport. But they think maybe they've got their dad bod, they passed their prime, but they're wanting to look at to doing saying, why is sort of your weight not a disadvantage in slap fighting?
Well, because you've got different weight divisions. So I'm
Mm.
now in the super heavyweight division. That is 120 kilogram plus. So
Right.
that is a proper dad bod, the couch potato, that type of guy. I mean, Vern is also one of the power slappers, but he's
Mm.
obviously abroad. He's now, I think, 40 years of age, and
Okay.
he's been knocking guys left, right, and center. I mean, another thing coming back to slap fight. Normally, if you're in other sport like combat sports and this, you will always say, you know what, I met my tiger as you become
Mm-mm.
older or maybe unfitter. slap fight, the youngsters would say, you know what, here's a top dog. He's still got it. And
Right.
what else then as a father, which makes you also proud? You know what? I can still stand my ground, and we can still do this.
Yes, 100%. So talk us through a tournament. How does it work? What is the process?
Well, normally on a power slap, once you land in Vegas, for example,
Mm.
you then go for all your medicals. So by that I mean they test your eyeball at the back to see if there's any blood. They test your activity or your joints.
Hmm.
And they also test your heart rate. They test MRI scan to make sure you don't have any damage. They do urine test, they do blood test. They test you, I mean, throughout. If you
Right.
have a problem, you're not going to compete. But they test you, they make sure you're healthy for this. Um, from there, you obviously go to some interviews and then you get to weigh-ins. So
Hmm.
beforehand, they tell you what to do. You also do your photos, all of that for promotion day or fight day, if I can say it like that. Then you got the weigh-ins. That's streamed live. You make sure you and your opponent is more or less the same weight or in that
Hmm.
weight category. From there, you go to bed, you sleep, you get your mind ready, and then next day is fight day. So then you get together, they drive you off to where you need to be. You see the fight card, they explain to you more or less how and when. From there, you compete. After you compete, you're done. You can do whatever
Okay.
you need to do. Just make sure you're back on the plane in time.
Okay, 100%. So with a competition, it's basically it's 3 slaps per opponent. And what happens if no one gets knocked out?
Normal fights is 3 slaps per opponent.
Mm.
Title fights is 5 slaps per opponent.
Okay.
Okay, so here's some rules in between. So the
Mm.
defender, the guy taking a slap, you have a noodle which you grab behind your back. You need to keep your jaw 90 degrees, so you're not allowed to bend it down.
Hmm.
You're also not allowed to move left or right, back or forward, or even block or
Right.
flinch.
Yes.
So if you do that at any stage when you get slapped, if you flinch, your striker gets another turn. If you get
Okay.
knocked out, obviously you're out. If any other part of your body touches the floor beside your feet, there would be a 10 count system like boxing normally. So by 8, if you're not ready, it's obviously a TKO.
Hmm.
Then you also got a box which you basically stand in. So you need to try and station yourself in that box. If you move out, you lose a point. So if I'm a striker and you're a defender and I slap you and you do not move or anything like that, you're on a 10 system. Now, for me, striking, I'm not allowed to bend my arm. I'm not allowed to hit with a palm.
Hmm.
I'm also not allowed to hit coupling. Wait, let me just see, like this,
Yes.
or fingers back. So
Okay.
all 3 points, must basically touch your face together. With a slap, I'm not allowed to hit higher than the eye line or lower than the jaw line.
Okay.
So you have 1 centimeter which you're not allowed to hit out of. So your aiming needs to be properly. Also, when I hit, I'm not allowed to lift my feet or even twist it. So only your body, top body needs to move. So if I slap you 100% and you take it 100%, we're on a draw card.
Hmm.
But if I lift, twist, bend my arm or anything like that, I'm on a 9 system. But if I
Okay.
move you out of the box, you on a 9. If I get a foul, another point would also be deducted. So, say for example, I slapped you over the eye line and you take it 100%. Then they would put me on a foul and they would minus 1 point. So I would be on an 8 and you would be on a 10. So there I'm losing 2 points. And the bad thing about losing points, you only got 3 slaps to make it up.
Yes.
Once you get knocked out, you're not allowed, or even days, you're not allowed to grab the table. Um, and then once you are up, say you get dropped and you get count to 8 and you're back on your feet again, the medicals first come in, or the doctors, to make sure you're 100% fine. So they check your eyes and make sure you still have your balance
Hmm.
before they let you compete. If they feel you're not safe, they pull the fight and it's done.
Okay. Sure. How many referees are there?
Well, there's 3 officials on stage.
Okay. Right. And they're watching for where you're hitting, and then they'll.
Well, normally in South Africa, we would have one guy watching if you flinch, one
Hmm.
guy checking the slap, and one guy checking the feet.
Right.
But in obviously Power Slap, they got slow motion cameras which detect all of that. The
Okay.
officials is just there to help you go down to the floor and don't make a backflip on your head or something. And
Okay.
then obviously to make sure you stick to the rules.
Okay. So they're almost, so the technology is a little bit more advanced than a lot of the sports with using the slow motion cameras.
Definitely. I mean,
Yes, it is.
if I put my hand here, I'm just going
Mm.
to give you an idea. If
Yes,
I'm 1 centimeter higher, it's a foul. If I'm
yes,
1 centimeter lower, it's a foul. So
sure,
you need to aim close to 100% because you need to put force behind it.
yes,
And with me, with my power slap per square inch, it's 988 kilograms per square inch.
sure.
But remember that force, you need to aim 100% right. I mean, if you half a centimeter out, that's fine. But 1 centimeter out on a hand size looks like this,
Mm. Yes,
and then
sure.
it's foul. So you
Okay.
need to aim 100%.
And then what is the relationship like between the different opponents, the different competitors?
Well, currently we are still quite new. I mean, it's past lap 6,
Mm.
so close to everyone they get along. But there's obviously dividing happening because we got the guys that have been in season 1, which we call
Mm-hmm.
the OGs, and then we got the guys in season 2. So the guys automatically, some of them click, some of them don't click because it's already a rivalry starting. So I think as it grows, your rivalry will automatically continues. But
Mm.
personal opinion, I think for the newer guys that come in, they do not have the urge and the hunger. They may be like, oh, I'm going to try it once or twice. They might
Okay.
fall in love, they might not. But the guys in the beginning, for some reason, they are there to stay. They are
Right.
not just going, yeah.
Okay, for sure. What do you think it is about the sport for them that keeps them in it?
Well, it's a good question. I think it's because they can have the status of being an OG
Mm-hmm.
or the legend in it, or maybe even what the sport has done for them. I mean, in with the Wolverine, I'm not sure if you follow the past, but the
Mm-hmm.
Wolverine completely paid off his house and all his debt.
Right.
Turpin just bought a house now. I mean, the Dana White is paying insane money for this. So most people would say, you know what, you're standing there for a direct concussion. True and not true. So I'm going to explain why I say this.
Mm-hmm.
Slap fight, you need to stand for the slap and wait for it to come, but you only get 3 slaps in your whole fight camp.
Yes.
In boxing, you go to a camp, you get 100 to 1,000 punches to the head while training.
Right.
Then on a fight night, if you have 12 rounds, you get the same 100 to 1,000 punches to the head. So you get close to 2,000 blows to the head in boxing. Slap fight, I only get 3 per night. And that's roughly every 4 months, maybe 6 months.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's actually much safer.
I do believe so. I
Mm-hmm.
really do believe so.
Okay. What do you think is the attraction with humans and slaps? Because I think it go all the way back to high school, or with getting murdered from your mom or your dad, and then sort of we have a fascination. What do you think the reason behind that is in growing the sport so much?
Well, I'm definitely going to say South Africa
Mm.
know how to give a club.
Yeah.
Um, that's one thing. I think we are bred this way. We do know how to give a slap. So I think South Africa would definitely be one of the biggest country in the sport. But what I feel everyone wants to see a knockout. I mean, if you
Mm.
go to any sports, you're going to go watch boxing, K1, you waiting for that knockout. I know when I used to do MMA, the guys would say, oh, it's boring, you ground fighting.
Mm.
We want to see a knockout. And now we're on slap fight. I mean, this happens so fast. If you look away for 3 seconds, you might miss the KO. So
Right.
people are so packed in their seats, they're even scared to go to the bathroom
Yeah.
in between because they might miss 2 matches. And what not better than seeing a knockout, a proper
Mm,
knockout.
mm, mm.
And
Absolutely.
even in slow motion, I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
Where just the face changes and you see the switch go off, and then it's over.
True, true.
Yeah. What would you like to see for the sport? Where would you like to see the sport go?
Well, I would definitely like to see the sport grow like it's
Mm.
growing now. It's growing insane
Mhm.
numbers. But I would
Yes,
definitely like to see South Africa on the map. We've got some guys which we already got into past, so I've got them to follow me into this.
hmm
So hopefully in the next few months you're gonna see them soon. I'm gonna bring them guys to you to also do some interviews.
absolutely.
But yeah, this is growing at an insane speed. I mean, it's going on for 3 years now.
Mm.
Power Club is close to 4 million followers, but the viewing is like 350 million views.
Right.
It's insane. It's
Sure.
insane.
Where did the sport originate from? Where did it start?
Well, I've been following slap fight since 2020. I
Hmm.
do think it started from Russia. I'm not sure.
Hmm.
I did not do my homework on that. But I remember from 2022, I used to watch that big Russian guy that used to slap lemons and guys. And so I do believe it started from there, or from there it started
Hmm.
socializing.
Yes.
Um, yeah, well,
Okay.
that's what I think.
Cool. Then, Donnie, sort of just we really appreciative of your time. Just before we wrap up, is there anything sort of that you'd like to talk about or add?
Let's see. I did not know if we talk about it. We also got married in Vegas on the 6th of Feb. I mean, who can
Okay.
top that?
No, that you can't top. Fantastic.
That you can't top.
Congratulations. Yep.
Yeah. Thank you very much. So that was a hell of
Okay.
a week. It was, we landed, I think, the 4th of February. We got married the 6th. Wayne was the 8th. The competition was on the 9th. And my opponent was actually my best man, believe it or not.
Right. That's
He was my best
fantastic.
man.
Yeah. So,
We had some of the power slappers and the celebs actually attending our wedding. And
right.
also want to add on the power slap,
Mm.
this is the only sport that celebrities, I mean Deontay Wilder was there, Sean Strickland was there, that
Sure.
celebrities come to watch us compete. And we are just
Yes.
normal guys. I mean, I'm a father of 5, I've got a dad bod, and
Mm.
we got celebrities coming to spectate what we can perform to them. I mean, yeah, I mean that's definitely a bucket list.
Sure. That's absolutely fantastic. I have to ask, was there any wedding cake though before the after the weigh-in?
There was not, but we
Okay.
definitely ate at what was I did it like? What was the I can't think of the name now, but
Okay.
we ate at the Rango
Yes.
casino. So what they did, they actually at the hotel, all the restaurants gave us their best food. So we sat there at the table with probably 20 plates in front of us of all the restaurants, and they wanted us to taste.
Right.
So what not then a perfect wedding gift? And
Sure.
also Franklin, the owner, gave my wife uh, ticket at Power Slap. I mean, the tickets cost for us South Africans, the cheapest is 10,000 Rand. So he
Wow.
gave her a ticket to say, you know what, come and spectate.
Sure.
Franklin, thank you.
That's absolutely, absolutely fantastic. So, speaking of your wife, I mean, is she looking at getting into the sport? Is there power slap for ladies? Is that something
Uh,
that's not?
There is a power slap for ladies. My wife, unfortunately, she's more of the business type. She runs the social media and the
Mm.
marketing and all of that. She's the clever one in
Yeah.
this. We're more like the lazy. We go to stage, we give 3 slaps, and we go home.
Yeah.
Um,
We
yeah, but
smart. We
there is
smarter.
open for ladies.
Yep. Okay.
In our promotion, the dominant, we do not have ladies as of
Mm.
yet, and we're only focusing on the guys so far. There is other promotions that do have divisions for ladies so far.
Right. Okay. Is that something that you'd like to look at bringing in eventually?
Personally, I think on the dominant slab league, I will. At today, as of our time, I do believe in guys first because
Mm.
once we take on ladies, I mean, for that lady to have a second competition, to make a first match is easy, but to have your second and third competition, she's going to be on the bench for probably 6 to 8 months.
Right.
I do not believe the competition for ladies is that big here in South Africa. But
Okay.
if it grows, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Okay, fantastic. Because I think we see that as well within MMA. It's a struggle for South African ladies to find regular opponents.
That's the thing.
So,
That's
okay,
definitely it.
sure. Oh, Donnie, it has been absolutely fantastic. I've had a blast. I've learnt a lot, and I know that our listeners are really going to enjoy listening to this and getting an understanding about the sport, but also what it takes to be a champion. And the thing that I'm very grateful to hear you talk about is that you became a champion in one sport, and that wasn't enough. You then moved on and have kept moving forward. So, we want to wish you all the best for your career and also for your career in developing the sport. Because I think it's something that's really, that if you can take the slap, it's something people should be exploring.
Definitely.
So,
No, they must definitely do it. Then I also want to give a shout out to
please.
my oldest son today.
Yeah.
It's Keandre. It's his birthday.
Oh,
He's
happy
a school
birthday,
today.
Keandre. Yeah. How
So
old is
this
he?
comes out.
Oh,
Keandre, this happened on your birthday. Happy birthday, my boy.
Lekker man, dankie. En dankie dat het in Engels kan doen, want my Afrikaans is 'n bietjie swak. Meeste mense sê vir my, praat Engels want jy moer ons taal. So
Well, this is the thing about interviews. You sort of
yeah,
have to do it in English because
right.
once we're on a level which you share it worldwide,
Yes.
your fans in other countries need to understand it. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, Afrikaans, they do not understand that well.
Maar dis mos die beter taal. Jy kan dinge in
That,
Afrikaans sê wat jy nie in Engels kan sê nie.
daai ding wat jy in Afrikaans kan sê en nie in
Ja.
Engels nie, is 'n peerklap.
Ja.
Only
Daar's hy.
Afrikaans people would know about that.
I look forward to getting a t-shirt with that going. You could call it,
Well,
yo,
thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
No, it's been a pleasure. No, thank you so much. We'll get the video edited and we plan to have it out by Friday. It may be sooner. As soon as it's out, I'll let you know. We'll do a post on our Instagram page now as well, and we'll just tag you in it with the interview. If you can, on WhatsApp, just send me a picture or two that you'd like us to use in the post, and then we'll do that.
All right, I'll do that. What you can do, if you add me
Yes.
on Instagram, you can
Yes.
invite me to Collaborator, and then it
Yes.
will automatically come on my page as well, and then we can share both views.
Okay, fantastic. Done. We'll set that up. We'll do that. Right. Lonnie, thank you so much for your time. It's been fantastic chatting.
All a pleasure, meneer. Thanks for having me.
Okay. All right, clear. Cheers. Bye. Dankie. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Ciao. Bye.